Ladies and gentlemen, your teacher 10 Thumbs, and today I'm going to put 10 years of playing blues ukulele with 10 tips into 10 minutes with 10 thumbs. Plus, to help you digest these ideas, there's a free PDF printout with tabs and everything. You'll see it in the first comment of the comment section, and if you like it, think about becoming a Patreon and get something like that with every single lesson. One of these elements that's essential for the blues is something called a shuffle rhythm. It's not click, 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 but rather click, 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 click. Click, click. Developing this sense of groove helps everything from your licks, from your solos, and it also helps you with triplets, which are a huge part of the blues as well.
Now, a good way to kind of practice this is with a shuffle. If you take your second or your middle finger, first fret, I'm in the key of A. All the examples today are in the key of A. Middle finger, second fret, and I'm going to pluck the G string while my index finger comes up on the E string. I'm going to do that 2 times. Then I'm going to get my ring finger on the second fret and repeat. Pinky on the third fret, repeat. And then lift my pinky up and repeat. So straight rhythm would just be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and click, 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 click. And shuffle is 1 and 2. And 3, and 4, and 1. You can hear that classic blues sound.
Another very important aspect of playing blues music is the idea that less is more. So I'm going to show you an exercise I do called 3 notes. Let's take a look at it, incorporate this in your playing, and you will level up your blues feel dramatically.
One way I practice this less is more concept is by the 3-note exercise, and I choose 3 random notes in the scale, and I only use those 3. 5th fret of the E string, 3rd fret of the A string, 5th fret of the A string are a great place to start. One thing I do with this exercise is I let myself repeat one of the notes because I think it's very important that you do hit notes more than once when you're learning the solo. So the 4 examples sound like this. But with this particular exercise, it's also a very good idea for you to take these 3 notes and kind of try to come up with your own ideas. If I slow down just the first one, I'm going to start on the 5th fret of the A string, roll over to the 5th fret of the E string, which is a skill you want to practice as well. Index on the 3rd fret of the A string, back to the 5th fret of the E string, and it's 1 pola 2, 3, 4. 1 pola 2, 3, 4. You got to know triplets too. Super important.
The ornamentation. Ornamentation is vital. Hammer on, pull off, bend, slide, vibrato. You need to know all 5. Each one of those also deserves their individual practice. We do have lessons for all of those. You'll see that in the printout as well.
So here we're going to start with this lick. 2-4 on the C string, 3-5 on the E string, back to 3, and then we're going to play again a rest on the 4 and 5. So if we count our lick, we're going to get 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to add these ornamentations we talked about. Again, there is 5 of them: slides, bends, hammer on, pull, and vibrato. Each one of those needs to be practiced individually. But watch this same lick now. As opposed to one more time. Very, very different. So you want to practice each of those ornamentations down, and you want to be able to use them fluidly because it's a big part of this word called phrasing that we're going to revisit later in this lesson.
So this next one, we don't have time for this one at all in this lesson, but it's vital. The minor pentatonic and the blues scale has 5 shapes. You need to memorize all 5 shapes. You need to practice those shapes individually, but you need to memorize all 5 of them. Once you learn how to move these shapes, you'll be able to play all 5 shapes in any key. That means no matter what the blues song, you'll be able to play along, solo, jam, and come up with rhythmic ideas. This is a slow process. Think about each individual shape as something that you want to take time developing, practice individually, and you already know I got you covered with some links. And while talking about scales, we should talk about the flat fifth. The flat fifth is the note that transforms the minor pentatonic scale into the blues scale. It's a passing tone, so you don't want to land on it, you want to go through. But the creative applications to pass through this note are limitless. Incorporating this note in your jams, your licks, and your solos adds instant blues flavor to what you're playing.
The minor pentatonic, A minor shape 1, open 2nd fret, open 2nd fret, open 3rd fret, open 3rd fret. The 3rd fret of the C string is what's called a flat fifth. When you add this note to our scale, we now have the blues scale. O2, O2, 3, O, 3, O, 3. And it adds a lot of blues flavor to the scale, and it's important to kind of practice using that note. It's called a passing tone, so you never want to land on it and let it ring, because it's going to sound dissonant. So this riff here sounds like this. Okay? 3 slide 2, pull to 0, middle finger up to the 3rd fret of the E string, down to 4 with your ring finger, back up to 3, and then we're going to play 3, 3, 4, triple it, 3 and 4. You want to get that note involved in your licks. Just remember it's a passing tone.
Phrasing. Phrasing is super important, but what is phrasing? Essentially, that's a fancy way for saying note choice and how you choose particular notes to get particular emotion. It's a massive topic. Let's go ahead and try to scratch the surface, but again, you want to deep dive into this one. And a lot of this happens naturally based on what you're hearing when you're playing, but it is something that you can intentionally develop as well.
The most important note in your phrase is your last one. That's very important to repeat. The most important note is your last note. That's the note that rings out, and that's the note that you hear against the chords playing in the background. That's why that note selection is the most important. So in context, when we look at both of these licks, the first one finishes on an E note, and then the second one finishes on an A note. Now, both of those notes are in the A7 chord. So when you're playing blues in A and strumming in A7, these sound very, very nice and flow together, something referred to as a call and response. If I were soloing over a D7, for example, that might be a little different. I still have the A note, but the E note against this chord would create a different color. That's not to say you can only land on notes that are in the chord. I'm not saying that at all. Just saying being aware of that helps you kind of manipulate the sound and feel. Certain tones have certain varying degrees of stability. If I take a deep dive into phrasing and go on and on and on, we're going to be here all day for that. Again, each one of the ideas in today's lesson has its own lesson. So watch what happens now when I add the second lick here in this to the phrase, and also notice how they're very similar. That's something called a motif, which is also part of phrasing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sounds finished, it sounds stable. A is the safest note. You're gonna have to learn a little bit about stability, instability, deep dive into phrasing.
Past the pentatonic. You can solo with just the blues scale, but the greats like to blend different scales. And modes as well, Mixolydian and Dorian. The famous BB box is just BB King mixing the minor pentatonic with the major pentatonic. A good easy rule for that is over the one chord, you can mix in some major ideas. It definitely doesn't stop there though.
When you leave the blues scale, you have to think about the chords underneath and exactly when is the appropriate time. A very easy way to get started with this is over the one chord, you can mix in some major. 3 hammer 4, that's a major note, down to 5, 3, back to 5. Then we play the 6th, that's in A major scale, back up to 5, 7 in A major scale, and back to the 5. So the 4th fret here is A major, 6th fret A major, 7th fret A major. We blend it with A minor and our lick sounds like this. Lovely, right? You can hear a lot of BB King in that.
The turnaround is crucial. That's where you create the tension that goes back to start everything over. You should have a couple in every single key. You can incorporate these in your rhythm playing and your solo, and they're just very useful to have. They really start to separate the beginner blues player from the intermediate player.
In the turnaround, it's measures 11 and 12 where you get the riff action going. We've done a ton of turnarounds. This is one that I came up just for this lesson, so that's going to be in the tabs, but we have a ton of turnarounds in different keys as well. Quickly through this one, we're going to strum through the A7, 7th fret on the A string, 7, open, 6, open, 5. After you get to that 5th fret, open C string, hammer 1st fret, open A, strum down on this A chord, then up on the E7. 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 1 pola, 2 and 3, 4, boom. I know it feels like I'm flying, but I really want to try to get you all these ideas. Tons of turnaround lessons as well are linked in the description.
And the last one, rhythm. Rhythm is cool. When you're a beginner, you probably want to jump right to the soloing, but you can do so many cool things with your shuffle or your rhythm. Don't think blues is limited to just strumming through. It's nice to have a couple rhythm ideas and a couple keys as well. That way you're ready to jam with different people in different keys, add some flash and have some fun.
Even though this would really still be considered a shuffle, it's an advanced shuffle or an advanced blues rhythm, and there are a lot of different ways that you can add this flavor into your playing. For this one, 2nd fret of the C string, or G string, excuse me, index finger 3rd fret, middle 4th fret, slide both of these up to 6 and 5, 8, another major note, and then back down. 1, 2, and 3. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 pola, boom. On the 4th beat, open C string, hammer 1st fret, that's mixing major and minor again, minor note, major note, index finger, open E, then come down where we start. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 pola, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 pola, 1. You guessed it, we have a lot of advanced rhythm ideas as well.
And that's it. Some final thoughts would be also listen. When you put on some music, blues, listen to it, listen with intention. Try to hear if they're blending scales. What are they doing on the turnaround? Is the rhythm something unique? Listen with intention. And the most important thing of all this is to have fun. Blues is a great way to communicate. It goes beyond language. If an alien came down from Mars and they had a guitar, we could play blues even if we couldn't talk Martian or English. Es quizás que ellos pueden hablar en español, qué sé yo. Parlo italiano molto bene. Parlo portuguese tão bem. I don't know if they do, but I know that they would know how to communicate with music. It really is a universal language. You take care of those 10 things and you will be a blues master in no time as well. Subscribe and learn. Links for all these lessons below. Think about becoming a Patreon. You'll get the tab you got with this lesson for every single lesson. And I'll catch you Wednesday and Saturday for ukulele, Monday for guitar. Take care and have a lovely day.